We're live! Hey, everybody. It is International Homebirth Day, and I am joined by two amazing home birth parents. Linda, who is one of our alumni, who we love dearly. We're like Team Linda. And Meg, who we love so much, who is our connector of Amplifier Connection, and we just love her too because she keeps us talking and grooving and setting things up like this. And so today's going to be really cool because not only we're going to talk about birth stories, we're also going to talk and share some photos of both of their births, which I'm jazzed about because I love a good picture. So you can always pop your question in, whatever platform you're in, and say what your question is. We can see you no matter where you are watching from. I do challenge you, though. Go find us on Twitter. Go find us on YouTube. Make sure you're following us there. And this is going to be fun. So I was thinking we would do the fun stuff first and talk and look at pictures and birth stories, and then we can talk the nitty-gritty of home birth. How does that sound, ladies?
Sounds good.
All right. Oh, I like this. In unison.
Yeah.
That might happen a lot.
The picture, like the collage at the beginning, the video countdown, that beautiful plus size human in that red bathing suit.
Yep.
I'm like everything about this.
Right?
Yep.
That
I wish I could be like, where did you buy that?
I know. Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. That was the first thing. I was like, oh, that's cute. How do I find that?
I bought it on Amazon. You know? Yeah. No, I love it. I love that. It's super fun because also a big theme of today is plus size birthers and being able to first advocate for what you want, being a home birth, and knowing you have the right to a home birth. And that, I think, is the biggest thing, is folks are always told, no, you have no choice, has to be in the hospital, and it's because of your size. Like, they don't take in any consideration of anything else. And for the vast majority of clients I have as a birth worker that are plus size or large bodied or whatever word they need to use, I'll say large body because I have to have tall clients that are on the heavier side as well. Those are the words they've used that are like, I thought I couldn't do a home birth. And then I'm like, you totally can. And I'm like, well, I had no idea. No one even told me that was an option. And so talks like today are to make sure everyone knows that is an option for you. It can be done regardless of the medical body size. And, you know, we all know the BMI is garbage.
Garbage.
Utter garbage. Like, ugh, like it's sewage waste. And so we're not even going to discuss any of those things, but more of how you can empower yourself with your home birth. And I would love to start with Linda's birth. And so I know, right? We're going to screen share. I'm going to show you some gorgeous photos. I just saw these and I was just like,
Aww,
what? How am I just now seeing these pictures?
I'm so excited.
Meg's going to like flip because they're so good.
Are they?
There we go.
They're a little blurry. Some were taken by phone. And so also,
photos. Yeah.
Can I also throw something in? We just moved in that month to a new apartment. So we were literally like had boxes around us and like bags of clothes that were not even hung up yet. We literally like, it was the craziest thing. We moved in July 3rd. We had a baby July 30th.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, yeah. Anyway, in case you see some stuff in the background.
We're not
it's a home birth. We're not getting birth in a museum. You know, it's not a museum birth. It's a home birth. You know,
it's kind of creepy.
You exist in those spaces. That's just my point of view of like houses and like, you know, this whole morality of cleanliness. It's a whole other chat for another day. But I'm going to add this to the stream so y'all can see. And there we are at the bottom. Love this. So I have this going. You could just walk us through what's going on, and I will go to the next picture. They're in the order that you gave them to me. So
okay, that's cool. That's cool. So I was definitely in the beginning of, I was in the beginning of labor. Things were starting to get pretty intense. My amazing doula was taking these photos. I had no idea. So I was definitely in it at that moment. This is my husband, Alex, and he was I'm going to start crying. I don't want to start crying, but he was my support team. Like he was number one throughout the entire thing. And he, at this moment, I was literally trying not to fall. So I had my hands around his neck. and I was begging him to just hold me up. And he was. And it didn't matter how heavy I was, right? Because that doesn't matter at this point. It didn't matter how heavy I was. He was literally there, literally holding me up. It was.
I love it. I love it. And
There
then
you
you're kind of like, you're like surrendering to him. I love it.
I had no choice. My body was doing its thing, right? And I was whispering in his ear, please don't let me fall. Please don't let me fall. Please don't let me fall. Because I couldn't hold myself up at this point. And he did that for me. It was amazing. And you can see in his face, he was struggling too. But he did not share an ounce of that with me the entire time. It was all about just me birthing my baby. Our baby.
Did that become like a little bit of a ritual for you, Linda, saying that please don't let me fall?
In the beginning, yes. In the beginning. Yeah. Towards the end, I was definitely not saying nice words. That was a whole other ritual.
I love it. And then you shared some of these photos with your oldest. And it looks like he's rubbing on you. I'm like,
He was so at that, he was 4, he's 9 now. At that time, yeah, he was, I don't know if he was necessarily concerned, but he was definitely, coming towards me, rubbing my hair, putting my hair back, rubbing my shoulders, asking if I needed anything. We actually prepared him for the home birth, and we didn't want him going anywhere else. We chose to have him stay with us because we want to normalize this. There's nothing wrong with children seeing their parents in labor. And I think for me anyway, or for us, it was really important that he was there for it. We wanted him to see every single thing. And prior to this, we would talk about how mommy's going to make some loud noises. And we would joke around together, and we would both moan together and try to go really high and really low. So that way, when it came time, he wasn't scared. He was prepared. He knew exactly what was going to happen. And he would even help us. He was helping us stock the fridge with like coconut water. He helped me freeze grapes so I can be, I would have some nutrition. Like, it was such a beautiful experience. And he remembers it even to this day at 9.
I love that.
I love that.
I see this awesome setup with like the birth pool and everything. Yeah. Like, I love it.
Yep, this is our apartment.
Your tub has see-throughs like on the side, it looks like, where you can see in from the side.
I guess so. I guess so. We were gifted that actually because I prepared a home birth. I prepared my home birth way before I even got pregnant.
That's awesome.
So we had that. My husband actually set that whole thing up. I didn't even know this picture was taken, and my son was watching Daniel Tiger.
Excellent. Yep.
That's about on par for the age group and what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good picture too to show like to normalize what it can look like, because I've had clients that are like, there's no way I can have a home birth. I live in a small apartment.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have a house with land. I'm like, that's so not true. That's so not true. Any dwelling can be a home birth. So I love this picture because it shows like, hey, we're in our house. This is it.
Yep.
And it worked great. And here's some action shots coming at you guys.
Oh.
Yeah. So my doula is patting me with a cold towel. She never left my side. She was definitely another rock for me. I'm actually holding on to my midwife's scrubs.
Yeah.
She's an older woman, an amazing woman. And at the end, I started to feel bad. I was like, am I hurting you? And she's like, no, it's fine. And I look at him like, now I see the pictures. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was squeezing some blood circulation. At this moment, you can see, I don't know if you can see, my son is covering his ears because I was a little bit loud at that moment, or around that time. But I will say, in this specific picture, my son has frozen grapes in his lap, and he's feeding me them every time I have a break.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Amazing.
You little doula.
This is me. Yeah, so I'm in it right now, man.
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm fully in it right now.
I agree, Alex. I agree.
That's my midwife. She's amazing. At this moment, they actually needed to check the baby's heart great. Not for any, there was no scare or anything. They were just on it. They were on point. And at sometimes they would say, okay, turn over. We need to check the baby. We got to make sure everything's okay and everything's going perfectly. And it was. But turning over for me and being on my back was not fun. So you can see that in this picture. I turned over because I had to. But as soon as she was done checking his heart, I turned right back on my knees.
Not having it. Not having it.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. Hard pass. And then the next picture you gave me is it looks like the baby's here.
Yep, that's my shock face. I am in complete shock that I did it here. And I look at her like, holy crap, did I just really do that? And my husband is staring at me like, you just did that? And my son is touching his baby brother's toes for the first time. When right before he came out, I asked if it was okay for my husband to get in, and my midwife was like, of course, get in, you know. So right before this shot, he actually caught the baby. Apparently my son just floated out of me. And my husband caught the baby and stared at him and then handed him over to the midwife. Like, what do I do?
What do I do?
And then she handed him to me. And I was also in shock, like, as you can see, like, holy crap. And then, so I gave birth to him on all fours. And then, you know, I had to go back and sit on my bottom. And she handed him to me. And she was just helping get the umbilical cord, like, out of his leg, because I think it was like a little bit caught up in there. And and I'm just pretty much in shock. And then as soon as I sat down, I asked if my son can come in, and she looked at me like, yeah, of course, do it, like, get in. So everybody is sitting in the birth pool with me. My husband at this point is staring at the umbilical cord in shock, and so is my son, because they've never seen this before. This is literally their first time. They've seen births, because that's literally what I look at all the time. I look at births all the time so that both of my children know it's completely normal, and there's nothing to be scared of, or, you know, like, it's okay to see these things. So they're both looking at the umbilical cord still attached to the placenta, which is still inside of me at this point. And they're both in amazement by it. I love my husband's face here because he's so smart and he loves to learn new information. So the entire process, my entire pregnancy, he was by my side through the entire thing, didn't leave my side. So he knows about birth just as much as I do at this point. So when he saw the umbilical cord, he was like, wow, like, this is what it looks like in real life, like touching it and everything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so at this point, I'm looking at him like, I did it. I can't believe I did it. Like,
such great pictures. I'm like,
thank
out, they're so good.
Thank you. My son is right next to me. That's why you can't necessarily see him. And that's my
favorite. Look at this family, this cute little family. Like,
this is my favorite too. If on the last photo, you can see my midwife's assistant. She's just hanging out right there, chilling. Yeah. Because nothing was, you know, everything was okay, going smoothly. So they were just chilling, just taking notes and letting us have our moment together. It was so awesome.
It really is. I just love this.
Look at the little.
It's so great.
I know.
It's so good. Like, also too, like the fact that you guys were all about education and supporting your oldest and each other through learning the process. This is like,
go back for a second. Like, your husband and your son both have like the same look, like this, like, ooh,
yeah, my boys are so close now, and I'm not gonna lie, I really do think that this helped.
Yeah,
you know, just he saw everything. He talks about it till this day. It's the experiences. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, you facilitated like a bond before he was born. You know, we talk about like bonding and attachment and the, you know, the differences. And like, for sometimes it's hard for siblings to start to initiate a bond. And you were like, hey, here's what's going to happen that day. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to be right here at home. Like, you gave him all the tools. So he was like, oh, I'm so connected to my little brother. Like, I love it.
Right.
I was going to say, this picture here, like, I want to get like your permission. I'm like, can I put it somewhere in MSP? Because it's like such a great first picture to be like that in the water holding a fresh baby. And then we have a placenta picture coming up. So
this is one of my favorites too.
Super cool. Because placentas are like, you know, I call them like the dinner plate of life because they give you like, you know, everything you need. And they are the size of a dinner plate sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And you can see my husband leaning in again because he's like so amazed at the whole process. Oh, can I give him a shout out? Because he also did my placenta capsulation for me.
Oh,
he was all up in it. He looked at it. He's like, this is amazing. I can't even believe like he was in here. It was like, everything. It was everything.
All right, Alex.
We didn't cut it until I want to say like 35, maybe 45 minutes after. So it was still attached to my baby.
I love that. Like Alex has set the bar pretty high.
Right?
Like your partner's not like trying to cut cords. That's great, but like making encapsulations, like investigating the placenta, protecting their spouse. Like, all right, Alex, I like this. And then this is this good snuggle picture. Oh,
this is real life, y'all. My bed sheets were a mess. Everything was everywhere. We still had boxes and everything was everywhere. But I was so glad that it was all over and I was able to kind of just relax, you know. And at this moment, I think we were alone. My midwife made sure that we had about an hour to ourselves to bond. Yeah. And I know that doesn't happen often, you know, especially in hospitals. Everybody's constantly poking and prodding and being like, let's check this and let's check that. She didn't do that at all. She said, you know, she actually completely ignored us. She came in knocking on the door, asking if it was okay to come in. And then that's when she started doing, you know, all making sure he was okay and like weighing him and things like that. But this was a good time, this moment. And you see, like, I'm plus size. I was probably at my biggest at this point, and it's possible.
Yep. Here's a good latch picture. That cute, like, look, hubby, look how handsome you are. It gave me a baby face.
Right? I was so in love with everyone in this. I was just madly, deeply in love. Obviously, you know, it's the oxytocin running through my... Because prior to that, I was like, But at this point, I was like, I love you so, but I mean, you know, you don't get that often. Like, I know I'm very fortunate to have somebody who's very dedicated to our family, and I wish everybody had that, you know. But to know that it can happen, and people can go through this, and it's possible as long as you have the right team and the right support. It's possible. It can happen, and there's so much love when it does happen. There's just so much love in the room and the atmosphere. I can't explain it.
I love it. I love this so much.
My son was not leaving our side at all. He's somewhere there all the time. And at this point, he was asking if what she was doing was hurting.
Oh, hey, I love that.
And my husband is still taking pictures in the background.
Go, Alex. Go, Alex.
I love it.
Oh,
tearful.
That was it. Yeah. At this point, all the emotions came flooding because I realized what I had done and I did it, you know. There's something about, because this was also a VBAC. This wasn't, I had a C-section with a cesarean birth with my first son. So for me, this was also a healing birth for me, you know. And I was able to share that with my oldest and my husband. And it was a flood of emotions at this point, and the experience was amazing. He's cutting the umbilical cord here.
Love this. I had no idea this was your VBAC. I had no idea.
I also didn't know that.
Yeah. I know, right? It's another layer to it, guys.
It is, because
VBAC plus-size home birth.
They'll say to plus size folks, you can't have a VBAC.
Yeah.
Like, that's not possible. You're living proof that it's possible. Like, hello. I love these pictures. All this bonding and attachment and love and oxytocin. It's all the good stuff.
Right.
And it's so cute because they're 3 boys, the little men.
I love this picture. I'm like so in love. At this point, I think I was just taking a break and like, you know, getting dressed.
Putting food in your mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, those little toes.
Yeah. think he was about 7 pounds, 8 ounces, I think.
Okay.
I know I should remember that by heart, but I forgot.
Okay.
Both were almost 8 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. So this was the next morning. I didn't sleep that night because I was so
jacked up.
Yeah, there's like this adrenaline that hits you afterward. And I didn't know. Everybody was knocked out. Like they were so tired from the day. And I was just up staring at this newborn, trying to nurse him, but also just staring at him for hours and hours. And I would look like this, just staring at him. And the next morning, my son wakes up, and the first thing he says is, "Can I hold him? Can I hold him?" And I'm like, "Of course, you have to hold him. Like he's your baby too." We always called him like our baby. It was never like my son, my anything. It was our baby, because this is our bubble. This is our circle, and we're all living in it. You know, we all share this love in this space.
Yeah,
oh, I love it. And then here's the last picture. It's so adorable. I think you said this like a month after he was born.
No, actually, that might have been like 2 days postpartum, maybe 3. And my midwife came to check on me this day. So I had to put on clothes. Not that, like she didn't see me naked the day before or anything, but, I had to be a little presentable. Yeah. So this was like, I want to say like 2-3 days in. And I think she might have actually taken this picture, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
This is one of those photos you got to recreate. You got to recreate.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Gotta get a little giant diaper.
Just like a towel. Do a towel for it.
That's better.
These are amazing. I love all of this. Like I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so important to have these visual images of what birth can look like, and these just truthful, honest, hearted part of it. Like this. Your birth was your birth. You took what could have been another cesarean and was like, no, I'm gonna do it my way. And I love it. Like,
thank you.
I don't have another word than it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So like, can I say, I wanted to say too, something that I really like that, like Linda, that you kind of spoke to a little bit, is like, there's a lot of mental preparation that goes into planning a home birth. Like there's obviously lots of physical, plans, like getting the tub or like getting the towels, getting the sheets, getting whatever it is. But especially I find for people that have gone past their due date, it is like day to day, minute to minute, hour to hour, whether or not you actually believe that you can do this. And I would just like ride up and down. There'd be one day where I'm like so resolute. I'm like, for sure this is happening. And then that night in the bathtub, I'm like, I don't think I can do that. Like, oh my God, I don't know. And I'm already a birth worker. Like when I have my home birth, I've had like a hospital birth with an epidural, which I would do 1,000 times over again in that labor. And I've also had literally we talked about my home birth and I'm like, we made cookies. I listened to Taylor Swift and I had a baby. It was more than that, but that kind of sums up the experience.
Yeah.
But it's like a wild ride, the like mental, like landing in the place where you're like, I hope that today's the day, because today I feel good about it.
And it didn't help that like I would get contractions all the time and I'd be like, oh, this is it. Yeah. And then it literally happened when I was sleeping one morning and my water just broke while I was sleeping. And I was like, this is it? I thought it was going to be like when I'm walking or taking my kids to the playground and I would feel all these contractions. No, I didn't feel a single thing. My water broke. Everybody was still sleeping. I poked my husband and was like, hey, my water broke. And he was like, now? Right now? Now? And I'm like, look. And he was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's go put on a pad.
Yay!
Let's see how this goes. And slowly everybody started to wake up. We had breakfast. It was such a easygoing experience. It felt very relaxing. And then it didn't when things started to progress. But I knew that everyone around me was there for me, It wasn't for any other like rules or obligations or there was no overhead. It was like my midwife felt like a friend to me. My doula felt like my best friend, my husband. Like I had people there who I knew were going to be there solely for me, not distract me, not put any fear into me. It was just easy. And that was like our goal, my goal anyway.
I love it.
And I don't know if you found this also, Linda, but in my first labor, like when I was in the early stage of labor and laboring at home, it was almost like a countdown. Like I can't wait to get to X point so I can get to the hospital and like things can get going. Mm-hmm. Whereas at my home birth, it's like what actually gave me that feeling was my doula showing up. When my doula got there, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna have a baby today, maybe. And then I showed up 2 hours later, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have a baby today. She's like,
you think?
Wow,
that's so funny. Yeah. When my water broke, Alex, my husband, he called my midwife and my doula, and my midwife was like, all right, I'll pack my bag. I'll see you later. Like, no big deal. And my doula says, okay, how about this? Linda will tell you when she's ready and when she needs me. And he's like, but like, doesn't she need you now? And she's like, no. She's going to know when she needs me. And I sure as shit, like, I'm telling you. And there was one point I was like, call her right now, now. Like this, she's right. I need her now. That's it. And then she was like, okay, I'm jumping in a cab. Like it was like the most smoothest thing. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I remember when my doula and I was so fortunate to have a birth photographer. Nice. And when they both showed up, I felt bad because my contractions were happening like pretty consistently, but I was still in that like early where I was like, I don't know. I think I might have just faked this all. I think it's just like a lie, like all the things have happened. And so I was like, you know what, you guys, why don't you go downstairs, like put on Netflix, like get you all comfy, cozy. And my doula at the time is like, your contractions are coming every 3 to 4 minutes. I think we need to call the midwife. I was like, but they're not lasting more than 50 seconds. They're fine.
I was complete opposite. I was like, everybody come now. I need you here now.
Over here now.
Right.
Let's share Meg's pictures so we can show them. I adore these two. Also, anyone that's curious about our MSP program, we do discuss these in our breakout sessions. We talk about comfort measures. So these may seem familiar. Like, wait, I've seen this before. It's because you might have when you come to a breakout session. Yeah. But yeah, I love these two because I can just imagine Meg being like, hey, the show's on, the cookies are in the kitchen. And then it'll be like, no. Like, no.
Seriously. Yeah.
You're having a baby today, Meg.
I know. And I kept just like not thinking that.
Not believing it was going to happen.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I don't think my first labor was like 30 to 34 hours or something like that. And so I just kept being like, this isn't for real.
That makes sense.
So right behind me, you can see my doula.
It's loading so I can show you.
Oh,
there you go.
Awesome. So behind me is my doula.
As it goes too fast. Oh my goodness.
Oops, the daisies.
This is what happens when you test technology out live.
You know what, Michelle? I feel like we actually did a really good job with Linda's going through them. The only one I want to highlight, can we do the one where Max and I are forehead to forehead? One of the 50 of them.
I love that picture so much. Because when you talk about the forehead to forehead thing, there's like another one and another one and another one.
Yes. Okay. Oh, thanks, Caitlin.
Here we go. Here's the first one because we talk about how impactful this is for you as your part of your ritual is this like forehead pressure. And since I talked to you about this the first time, I've actually heard other folks that use some sort of like cranial pressure on their face.
Really?
Yeah, like even like having like their cheeks pushed or like top of their head. I don't know if it's like a grounding point for folks, but yeah.
So what's happening here? So for the birth workers on the call, you've probably heard about the rhythm, ritual, and relaxation. And so for me, part of my ritual at a certain part, mostly like into like the active labor portion, was my husband being forehead to forehead with me. But what you're not really able to capture here, it's like the immense pressure. I'm like bullheaded. So
beautiful.
I show it and it happened for so long. So when we talk about rituals, like rituals are gonna, like, we have no idea how long that ritual is gonna have to take place. So that's why there's like the picture that we just saw, this picture, and there's gonna be another picture. I do really love this picture.
And then it's like you transitioned.
And then transition.
There was
but
so much.
There's so many pictures. Like, this is what I needed from him so much.
Yeah.
And if at any point he wasn't there, I was like, oh my God, I'm like groundless. I'm like not like, I'm like,
where do I go? I need to put my head on something.
I need this.
Right.
So I wanted to highlight that. And then also, can we go to the one with me and my doula and my midwife in the bathroom?
Yes. So I'm going to pull it out so you can pull it up.
Okay.
I also love that picture because your hair looks amazing. Like your highlights.
I was like, what did my hair look like?
It was like gorgeous.
Amazing.
There we go. There's the I can't do this, y'all.
Yep. So hands up, anybody that's watching this live, if you have given birth, did you reach a point in your labor where you're like, this isn't happening? I'm actually going to tap out. I decided I don't want to do this anymore. So let's just like find a workaround here because this isn't working for me. Yeah. So right before this picture was taken, I had hopped out of the birthing tub and I was just like freaking out. Like all of a sudden things were feeling really like intense. All of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm like feeling like really out of control. And so I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And so my doula and my midwife, being the brilliant humans that they are, they followed me into the bathroom. And this is the point where I'm like, you guys, no. No more.
Packing the bag, we're going to the hospital.
Yeah, like we've got to find another way because this baby can't come out this way. And I've attended many births like at this point, at like when I was like in labor, and I'd never been to, and I still have never been to a birth where it doesn't ever reach this point.
Yeah.
But it's so different because as a doula or a birth worker, when I'm watching at that point in my head, I'm like, yay, like the baby's going to be here so soon.
And they're like, no, it's
but
not.
I was like, this is over. Everybody, we got to stop what's happening. Anyway. So from here, I think the next one is it me on the bed, Michelle?
Yeah.
Nice.
So this was how I chose to labor. I had pushed in the tub for a little bit. I pushed in different positions, but I really liked being able to like pull back and like pull downwards. And you can see my stretch marks.
I love it.
Yes.
I know, I love it.
You're so strong.
Very strong. Oh, in my belly.
I love it.
Look at what that brown thing is.
Oh, that cord.
Yes, that blue cord. And those little toesies.
Baby.
And then there's the baby. And this is exactly what he looks like still today. Like that's just what Miller looks like.
I'm like, I've seen him on chats. Yes.
Yes. That's what Bianca always says. She's like, he hasn't changed a single little bit.
That's so sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got to do a walk of my placenta, which obviously I really like. No matter how many times I see it, no matter how many births I go to, I'm still always in awe.
Yeah.
But the placenta, and she's walking us through, and look at the baby's
house. That's so
look at me in the background, just like, that's so
I
cool.
love you're just like, oh, this is so nice, comfy,
It's
and
so relaxed.
Yep, and this is just like
So
in my
cool.
bedroom. At my
Also,
house.
too, this is like my own thing. I love how your midwife is just chilling in comfy clothes.
Yes,
You know, like for some folks,
Right.
like the scrubs thing is a factor of fear of being like, it's medical, I'm in the hospital. And they're like, oh, I'm just in a comfort shirt and some yoga pants, something, just hanging out. I was talking with some other birth workers last month. I'm like, you can see a couple midwives in town that will go to a birth in jeans in the summer. I'm like, okay, you're the real MVP because I would never do that.
Oh my gosh, it's so
hot.
hot.
That's so hot.
I love these pictures. They're so cool.
Um,
And then there's your family.
Yep. So Max is beside me the whole time. This is my midwife. Yeah, oh my God, everything was full circle. So this midwife actually was my midwife when I experienced a loss with my first pregnancy. And so for her to be here with the birth of this guy, and also my water broke all over her. Like, the clothes that she's wearing, she's soaked in my amniotic fluid. like a trooper about it. I
Right.
was like a puddle.
Right.
Oh man. But
I love how like in these pictures just show like the progress.
Yeah.
It goes from like, oh God, okay, you know, this is hurting to like, I can't. And now it's like full blown smile, baby's here.
Yeah,
Hey, baby.
totally.
That's
And
it.
I remember putting like Miller to sleep. Like I had like a little thing right beside the bed and he slept beside me. And it was like 4 hours and I couldn't wait to wake up and go see him. And then for anybody that's been in our classes, Miller was a very spicy baby. So like within those 4 hours of me waking up, he was like now officially like on a breast strike. And he started showing his spiciness real early. But those 4 hours before that was just delightful.
Yeah.
He was plotting. He was like, I need time to get this plan in order.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like, I just need a minute to get myself fixed up.
So good. I love this so much. So let's kind of talk some nitty gritty now. Let's get into these, how can we support people? Because I want to make sure everyone understands that home birth's for anybody. Like anyone can do a home birth. And so we want to make sure that that is first and foremost, we talk about what that's like. So what drew you guys to have your home births? I know, Linda, you said it was a recurring, what's the word? Helping from having the cesarean, like to rebirth almost of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what drew you, or was there more to it than that?
Oh no, that was it for me. So my first birth, I had a healthy pregnancy, I had a healthy baby, and then when I went in to have the baby, the hospital staff was so cruel, you know. And I told myself, when we have another baby, if we have another baby, I don't want that again. Right? It was like the best day of my life when I had my first son. And to think that, you know, people can kind of have a negative aspect to this wonderful thing, this wonderful day, I said, nah, it's not going to happen again. Honestly, I'd rather have my second baby on a bathroom floor completely alone before I step into another hospital again. Yeah. And that was it for me. So when we started to plan, I made sure that we hired the right people and the people that I felt most safest and comfortable with. And when we found those people, we knew we were in good hands. And that was it for me.
I love it. What about you, Meg?
Yeah, I think I mostly really wanted to be comfortable. You know, my first labor was really long. And I'd also, at this point, like I mentioned earlier, I was already a doula. And so I knew about the like emotional components of labor. And I was like, I know that I'm going to be stressed out at the hospital. I know that I'm just going to be like counting down until I can get there. And there was just like so many things where I was like, I just want to relax at my house. I want my husband to be, you know, close with me. I want him to be relaxed. I want my doula. And I would just like want to have some freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like having all of the support people. And I just wanted it to be light, you know, like I didn't want it to feel like a medical thing. I wanted it to be just like this experience where I bake cookies and listen to Taylor Swift and have a baby. That's all I wanted.
It's also like you have the same people there the whole time, right? There's no hospital switching. Our midwives were dedicated to us. The same way we are with our clients. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. And that's what our midwives promised us. Whereas if we ended up with like an OB or something, not that they're terrible, I'm just saying like some of them just don't show up and you end up having somebody else, right? And that happens so often. So to know that we were able to have like our people that we love and trusted and just like chill in our pajamas or naked or whatever, like that's also so important. And it just calms everything down.
Yeah.
The simplicity of it all.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The simple fact that it's just yours and no one can take it from you, because we have a lot of people that are going to hospitals where their birth experience gets taken from them because of so many things. The list is very long. But yeah, like that you can make it yours. So I want to ask, I prepared a lot of questions, but like, I want to make sure we talk about other things that are really important. How can a plus size person feel safe in a home birth? Because it might be a new experience to having something happen at home that otherwise they've never experienced a health related event at home that was positive. So what can they do? from your perspective?
Oh yeah, I know that Linda's got lots to say on this also. First and foremost, actually having a provider that not only trusts in the birth process, but also trusts in your body.
Yes.
Because we are inundated, especially as plus size pregnant people, plus size folks just in general, we are inundated with messaging that our bodies are not good enough. We are lazy, we're not strong, we're like not as educated. There's like actually so many barriers that folks living in bigger bodies face, especially within our medical system because of weight stigma and bias. And it's really, really tough. So making sure that you have somebody that truly does believe in your body. You would want to ideally find somebody that practices, like a health at every size, like practice. So they're not going to necessarily be talking to somebody about the BMI and how this is going to impact them. They're going to talk to them about all of the things that they need to know. You do still need to make informed choices. There are things that come up in pregnancies for folks of all sizes that can impact how a labor will progress. But they're not going to just automatically say, you live in a big body, therefore you're a high risk, therefore we're doing this. Because like just the BMI is so flawed. And we know that it's not an indicator of like a whole person's health.
Yeah.
Even health is like subjective and objective. So yeah, I think that's the number one, is just having somebody that believes in you. And also learning to believe in yourself. Like there is, like, I'm not joking when I say there was so much mental preparation that went into me getting ready for that home birth, where like, holy, it was time. It was the time.
You're going back.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh man,
like,
You know, the show was like, oh.
yeah.
I'm like, no, I can't share in that flashback. I wasn't.
My husband always says he wants like there to be like some button on us where our like a mental picture pops up so we can all see it.
Yes. Do you have any additions, Linda? That you
Honestly, I completely agree. I was gonna say the same thing. I would love to share very quickly. When I was interviewing my home birth midwives, I actually had a midwife, a home birth midwife, who when I walked into her facility, she literally looked me up and down and was staring at my body, right? Like, I'm pregnant. Like, this is what a pregnant plus size person looks like. Can we stop? And I felt so uncomfortable the entire time. And she eventually showed her true colors by telling me that I should go back to my old provider and talk to them to kind of like figure out what went wrong in my first birth.
Whoa.
And I said, oh my goodness. So it doesn't matter if you're an OB or a midwife, you can still have the same kind of thoughts, huh?
Yep.
And right then and there, I knew, and it was my first midwife that I had ever interviewed for the home birth. So it was definitely like a slap in the face. And I was like, oh, geez, I hope they're not all like this. But I put that thought in the back of my head and I just continued my search. And I definitely said a thing or two before I had left her facility because I couldn't hold it in anymore. Like the looks that I was getting, and I'm pretty sure it also had to do with that I was Latina and I had big curly hair and a big booty and big body. And, all those things combined, I was getting this horrible feeling. And I was thinking, I'm not supposed to feel like this. I feel beautiful right now. And you're making me feel horrible outside and inside. And you are not the person I'm comfortable with. So I'll move on. Yeah. But it's the provider, your team. It's the team that is beside you. That's the important part. They are going to make you feel safe and comfortable.
And also I do think, and I know Linda and I have both done lots of like work and like therapy and processing around like the beliefs that we hold about big bodies. And so what I find is the more work I do around it, the less impacted I am from external. Like now, if I was to go to a doctor's appointment and they would say something about my weight or be like, oh, this is what you have to do, lose weight, and then we'll do X. I'm like, oh, actually, that's just like not a really great evidence-based option for me. So what else can we do? Whereas back then, I would have been so shame-filled. I would have been like, oh my gosh, but I'm like pregnant, so I probably shouldn't lose weight right now. but like I still live in a fat body, so I'm like really not sure what I'm supposed to freaking do right now. But so like having that information, and also if you're listening to this and this is the first time you're ever hearing about, you know, people that live in big bodies not hating their bodies and like advocating for their health and their wellness, welcome.
This is what it looks like.
Right? This is what it looks like. And it didn't start like this. Linda and I can both attest, and Michelle, I know too. Like it didn't start at this level of confidence.
No,
it started with like a little baby tiny spark, being like, maybe my body's not terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like steps forward.
Okay, you know.
I'm only here because of y'all, though. By the way, I don't know if you guys know that. I got this confidence from you, from MSP, from Bebo Mia. No joke. You can ask anyone next to me. Like, seriously, the confidence within me is from you guys. You are full supporters of, it doesn't matter what body you live in, you're supposed to love yourself regardless. And that is huge.
We work hard. Michelle and I work really hard to feel about our bodies. So
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, like, I think knowing my worth has made being what I call a fat so much better. I'm always on TikTok, and I was on TikTok this morning while I was eating breakfast, and there was a influencer that I love, Anna O'Brien, who lives in a large body, and she legit stopped going live because she couldn't handle the onslaught of negative comments. And today she's just doing her makeup, like it was a fun, like, you know, get ready with me morning chat. First time live in 2 years. And immediately someone's like, you should be on your treadmill instead. Like immediately. And she's just like, no, I want to wear my makeup and be myself and be who I am. And so like, I think when I'm like being an MSP, being with Meg, being with social media people that I hang out with that are like me makes me feel better. And so I think you, Linda, having the exposure with us helps.
Oh, for sure.
Like heck yeah, I'm going to wear shorts. You know, like, you know, someone's like, oh, you're going to wear a tank top? I'm like, yes, I'm going to wear a tank top. Yes, I'm going to wear the 2-piece. Or the crop top. You know, I just love it. And so I think when you add the layer of pregnancy and add the layer of home birth, it's like, no, you're not allowed. Yes, I can. I'm going to do that. And I always say, like, you know, cut out things that aren't supportive. Like that person, you could have very well stopped at that first midwife and been like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna birth, but you were like, no, I know I deserve a good birth, and go to the definitions that you decided it was going to be, you know, but your own design. I think that's helpful because you saw those immediate red flags of that provider.
Oh yeah,
like, okay, this person's not for me.
Right, you know? Right. It's not me about them; it's them for me.
Yes, yes. So on that note, Meg had a great question that we should ask. What are some red flags that point to home birth being a different option for someone instead of, you know, a better option than home birth? What can we look for? Because I know there's going to be some of us that are birth workers that are watching this that are like, how do I help someone realize that the hospital might not be the best place? Or what can we look for?
Are you cool if I answer a little bit about this, Linda?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think firstly, getting a gauge on how people feel about the hospital in and of itself.
Yeah.
Also, this is where we can get a really good gauge on how somebody feels about their healthcare provider. You can tell a lot about a healthcare provider by somebody talking about their preferences. And especially if we see this, like, yeah, we'll talk about it then. Like, no, let's talk about it now. Because if we get there and you're not like, if we don't see eye to eye, if you have different opinions than me, if you feel differently than I do, then like I actually need to move to a different provider. So that actually can sometimes be the first step, is somebody getting a different provider. And it can be really, really empowering to let somebody know that they actually can get a different provider, because for the most part, people think that they just have to go with, you know, the first one they get referred to or whichever. And that's not going to be true everywhere. There will be places where things are limited and access is limited, but you're still able to advocate, you know, for like a respectful provider. It feels like that should just be a straight bottom minimum bar. Everyone should get that.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be that hard.
No,
it shouldn't be that hard. And what I always tell my my clients is they work for you.
Yeah.
You have to remember that. Just because they have on that white coat doesn't mean they're over you. We're all equal. And if anything, you're giving them the paycheck. So they need to respect you, your body, and your choices.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that extends to health no matter what when you're
overall.
I like legit just handed it to a doctor last year.
Yeah.
It was like I walked in and they're immediately wanting me to be weighed. And I was like, I'm not here for a weight related issue. Like, I'm not going to be weighed. It's like, well, you have to be weighed. Fine, weigh me, but don't tell me. Yeah. And then the person proceeds to write it down and show it to me. And I was like, I legit told you for mental health purposes, I do not want to know what I weigh. That's not how I measure my health. I have other variables like my actual labs to measure my health, you know?
Yeah,
just like a number on a scale that we don't know when that scale's been calibrated or whatever. Like, it was a 2 p.m. appointment. I've had 2 meals since then. Like, all the reasons why it wouldn't even be close to accurate. And they're like, okay, disrobe. I'm like, no, I've never met this doctor before. I refuse to just disrobe. Like, I don't want to meet someone. And the same thing with a gynecologist, like in the stirrups. You're like, oh, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. No, like, you can meet me fully clothed. I'm meeting them fully clothed. Like, the decency needs to go both ways. And so I remember them being like, well, because you decided to decline these things. I'm like, decline what? Human decency?
Right? Or my choices? Like, can we just not? I said no. The end. End of story. That's where you should have stopped.
Exactly. And so when I told my regular nurse practitioner, Dr. IC, what happened, she was like, well, who was this? What is their name? What practice? She was like, okay, I'll make sure that no one gets referred to them, because she's like, that should have never happened to you.
That's wonderful.
Totally.
Like, that right there. That is supportive.
And this is someone who I see who, you know, they have a thin body, but they've gone through eating disorders. They know what it's like working with folks that live in a plus size body. And I've never felt pressure from her, you know, to try to like lose weight. And I've been seeing her for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's hard to find. When I find it, like, I legit drove an hour and a half to her office. I was like, you moved? I'm moving with you.
You can't leave. How dare you?
When you're a plus size person, you got to find, you know, a space that feels safe in for your healthcare. And so for home births is the same way. And I think too, for anyone that plans to work with home births as a birth worker, or you're going to have one, find someone like Linda and Meg in your community. Reach out to us if you need to, if you can't find anyone, because we would be happy to empower you and support you in this. So I know we ran a little bit long today, but this is a big topic. And there's only so many like big days of the year I think we need to legitimately give power and time to. Yes. And home birth is so needed, especially in areas like in the North America where home birth is seen as a luxury or as an extra, when it's just having your child. You're just giving birth.
Yeah. In your home. Yeah. You're in the comfort of your home.
Exactly. So if you are watching this for the first time, you've never been on Bibo Mia community, this is the first time you saw us on your news feed or live on YouTube, and you're like, I want to do what Meg and Bianca and Michelle and everyone is doing, and Linda, we have a course starting in September, which we've all taken. We're all alumni here. It's called Maternal Support Practitioner. It starts in September of this year. You can go to bibomia.com or click the link in our bio. It'll take you to all the stuff. We've got so much going on this like next 30 days. Like, I looked at the calendar today. I was like,
so fun.
Woo! But we'd love to have you. And there's going to be a workshop coming up too. So you can scroll down and learn about how you can be just like the three of us and empower folks at their home births. So I'm excited for this. Thank you, Linda, for joining us.
Like, oh my gosh, thank you guys for having me. I love everything about home births. The fearless birther.
The
fearlessbirther.com.
Yes, the fearless birther. She is amazing.
Thank you so much, guys.
And you are empowering folks in Brooklyn, and we need more of you. Like, if I could just copy you and put you in all the major cities, like, we need you. So I love everything you have to say. I think you're important.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys more than you will ever know, for real.
We feel the same way.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Meg. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.